Do you feel pains that have no explanation? Fatigue that doesn't go away, even after resting? Maybe your mind is asking for help. Yes, your mind. And the chosen ones, because they feel more, also end up suffering more. What seems physical can be emotional. What seems normal can be an alert. Your body is trying to tell you something. The chosen ones have a sensitivity that goes beyond the ordinary. You perceive, feel, and absorb the world differently. However, when this sensitivity is not cared for, it turns into a slow poison. Repressed emotions, unhealed traumas, internal pressures, all of this accumulates. And then the body starts to scream through symptoms that no one understands. Constant pain, anxiety, insomnia, a drop in immunity. These are just a few of the signs your mind sends when it is at its limit. And the most frightening part, many learn to live with it as if it were normal. But it's not. It's your soul asking for help. And the chosen ones need to learn to listen to these signs before it's too late. In this video, I'll show you 5 clear signs that your mind is making you sick, and how to deal with it in a way that respects who you are. Nothing here is shallow. We won't ignore spirituality or pretend that feelings don't matter. Let's get straight to the point, because your emotional health can't wait any longer. If you feel this topic speaks to you, that there is something inside you asking for answers, then stay tuned until the end. This could be the explanation you have been waiting for a long time. And if it makes sense to you, follow the channel. This is just the beginning. There is still a lot of light, healing, and revelation coming your way. The pain that you cannot see. When emotions turn into symptoms, there are pains that do not show up in any tests, but hurt as if they were open wounds. Pains that the body feels, but that are born long before, deep within the soul. Have you ever gone through this? Have you ever tried to explain what you feel and no one understands? This is the invisible pain, and it is more common than you think. The chosen ones carry the gift of feeling deeply. This is a blessing, but also a risk. Because those who feel more, hold more. And what is held tightly eventually overflows. But it doesn't overflow in words, nor always in tears. Sometimes it overflows into physical symptoms that scare, disturb, and limit. Maybe you are experiencing this right now. Back pain, frequent migraines, constant fatigue that doesn't go away with rest. You go to the doctor, have tests done, and nothing. The results say everything is fine, but you know that it's not. And at that moment, doubt begins. Am I going crazy? You are not. You are just feeling what many ignore. The truth is that the body does not lie. It speaks when the mind is already tired of screaming alone. It screams when the soul is suffocated. Anger that was never expressed turns into tension. Accumulated sadness manifests as skin diseases. Old wounds can result in gastritis, constipation, panic attacks. And you thought it was just stress. It's easy for others to say, "This will pass. Don't worry. It's just anxiety." But they don't feel what you feel. They don't understand the weight you carry silently every day. The chosen ones learn from an early age to take responsibility for everything, to hold on tightly so they don't crumble. But holding on too much is exhausting, and the body starts to break down. Many people think that feeling is weakness, that crying, showing pain, asking for help is a sign of failure. But the real sign of strength is recognizing when something is not right. It is allowing yourself to listen to what your body is saying, because when you ignore emotional pain, it finds another way to show up. And the body is that channel. You might be thinking, "But I don't have time to stop. I can't afford that luxury." I understand. The routine weighs heavily. The responsibility calls. But even the chosen ones need to take care of themselves. Because if you fall, Who will hold everything you are holding? Taking care of your mind is also taking care of your mission. And you have a mission. The body speaks very clearly, but only those who pause to listen understand. And sometimes all it needs is a moment of truth, a time to release what is trapped. It can be through a sincere conversation, a deep prayer, or even a simple cry that you have been holding back for days. Maybe you don't even know where to start. And that's okay. Starting can just be admitting to yourself that there is a pain there, that it is not an invention or exaggeration. It is real. And if it's real, it needs attention. You don't have to bear everything alone. You were not chosen to suffer in silence. You were chosen to transform, and that starts from within. So, if today your body is aching more than usual, if fatigue has become constant, if your peace is rare, stop for a moment. Breathe. Listen. It may be that your soul is just asking for a little care, a space to express itself, relief. And this is not weakness. This is the first step to healing. When the body speaks for you, and you do not listen, how many times have you said, "I'm fine," when, in fact, you weren't? How many times have you swallowed your tears, held back frustration, and continued the day as if nothing had happened? The chosen ones have this habit, staying silent to avoid bothering others. But what you do not say, the body says, and it speaks in increasingly intense ways. Maybe you have already noticed a sudden stomachache, anxiety attacks that arise for no reason, insomnia that won't go away. The body starts to give signals when the mind has tired of warning. Yet many times you don't even notice. Or worse, you notice but think it's nonsense. And you keep ignoring what needs to be embraced. The big problem is that the chosen ones tend to become accustomed to the imbalance. You ignore it, minimize it, busy yourself so you don't think, until the symptom becomes routine. That pain becomes normal. That discomfort no longer bothers you so much. But all of this is the body begging for you to stop and look inside. There are pains that are not physical but manifest in the body. The repressed hurt turns into gastritis. The suppressed guilt transforms into fatigue. Constant fear weakens your immunity. When there is no space for emotions to express themselves, the body becomes the messenger. And you need to learn to listen to the message before it turns into illness. Listening to the body is an act of self-love. It's not drama, it's not fussiness, it's not exaggeration. It's responsibility for who you are, and especially for who you were called to be. Because a sick, worn-out, disconnected chosen one cannot fulfill their mission fully, and your mission is too valuable to be delayed. You don't need to understand everything about psychology to notice when something is wrong. Your body knows. It feels before your mind organizes the thoughts. That tension in your shoulders, that tightness in your chest, the shortness of breath upon waking. None of this is by chance. Everything has an origin, and that origin resides within you. Being strong doesn't mean enduring everything in silence. Being strong is having the courage to listen to what hurts, to stop and ask, what am I really feeling? What is happening to me that I don't want to see? These questions open doors. And many times the answer is already in your body, waiting for attention. You don't have to go through this alone. No one was born to bear the invisible in silence. Seek safe spaces where you can talk, vent, and understand yourself. It can be a conversation with someone you trust, a therapist, or even sincere moments with God. The important thing is to break free from the automatic, because if you keep ignoring it, the body will scream louder and louder. The chosen ones have an intense spiritual connection, but that does not make them immune to emotional pain. On the contrary, they feel more, absorb more, and often somatize everything without realizing it. That's why it's so essential to cultivate moments of inner listening. Don't wait for your body to stop for you to give it attention. The time for healing is now. If you feel that your body has been trying to tell you something, don't postpone that call. Breathe deeply. Look at yourself with more care. Maybe what's missing is not medicine or rest, but rather listening. And that listening begins when you recognize yourself as someone who deserves care, love, and peace, just as much as you give to others. The emotional armor that makes you sick. You learned to be strong, didn't you? To not show weakness, to smile even with a shattered heart. This became your armor, a protection that you wear every day to face the world. But over time, this same armor begins to suffocate you. And then, without realizing it, it makes everything inside you sick. The chosen ones have this tendency. They are seen as references, as a safe harbor, as those who can endure anything. But behind this role, there is a tired soul that just sometimes wants to collapse. But the fear of disappointing others, of seeming weak or broken, makes you hide even from yourself what you feel. Have you noticed how difficult it is to say that you are not okay? Even when it's clear that something is wrong, you prefer to smile, change the subject, or isolate yourself. You have become accustomed to solving everything on your own, and in the midst of this forced silence, the body begins to get sick, because every emotion you swallow is digested by your body for you. Repressing feelings may seem like a safe choice, but it's a ticking time bomb. What you do not say, the body transforms, and it transforms into pain, illness, crises. It's as if your body says, "Since you don't want to feel this consciously, I will show you another way." And that way can be cruel. But it can also be an invitation to healing. Maybe you think this armor protects you, but it only distances you from yourself. It prevents you from seeing yourself truthfully. You don't need to be strong all the time. You don't need to be the support for the whole world. Those who carry light also need to rest, cry, and vent. This is also part of the path of the chosen ones. Holding back tears, swallowing anger, pretending to be happy. All of this weighs heavily, and this accumulated weight turns into constant tension, autoimmune diseases, emotional disorders. It's not a coincidence. It's a consequence. And the worst part, while you worry about everyone, no one notices that you are breaking inside. This isn't fair. You also deserve care. Allowing yourself to feel is an act of courage. You do not become less by admitting that you are tired. You do not lose value by recognizing your pain. On the contrary, it's when you make yourself vulnerable that healing finds a way in. Your emotional armor needs cracks. It's through these gaps that the light renews itself. You don't have to carry everything alone. Sometimes just talking to someone you trust is enough to start changing something inside. Other times, a time of sincere prayer is what liberates you. But the most important thing is to be true to yourself. Stop hiding behind the image of being strong. Be real. Be whole. Remember, God did not choose the most perfect. He chose those who are willing. And willingness also means recognizing your limits. Your mission is great, but it does not require you to negate yourself. You can be light and at the same time be in process. You can be firm and still need comfort. This is balance. This is human. If you have felt that your strength has turned into a prison, maybe it's time to take off the armor for a moment. Breathe without it. Look at yourself with kindness. Let the emotions surface without guilt. Because true healing begins with truth, and the truth sets you free, including from the armor that once seemed necessary but now only weighs you down. Emotional explosions. When excessive strength turns into weakness, Not everyone holds back. Some overflow. They scream, break things, slam doors, cry out of anger, speak without thinking. It seems like impulse. It seems like imbalance. But in reality, it is just the accumulation of what was not resolved before. Many chosen ones go through this. They feel so much, hold so much, that at some point the explosion comes. And it can be devastating inside and out. The problem with emotional explosions is that, at the moment they happen, they seem like relief. You release everything that has been trapped for too long. But what comes after is guilt, regret, emptiness. And the emotional and physical damage can be significant. The body, in a state of constant alert, was not made to live like this. Intense stress, emotional pressure, feelings of injustice, mental overload, all of this can become a trigger. A rude comment, a delay, a critique, and suddenly, anger bursts out like thunder. It's not a lack of control. It's an excess of accumulated pain. And the chosen ones, due to their intensity, feel all of this with even greater depth. Some live in a dangerous cycle. They hold on, and then explode. This affects relationships, self-esteem, and mainly health. The body goes into defense mode, releasing stress hormones. The heart races, blood pressure rises. Heart attacks, strokes, and other severe illnesses can arise from these unresolved emotional storms. Perhaps you grew up hearing that being strong means never being silent, never submitting, always reacting. But there is a difference between firmness and losing control. Reacting to everything all the time takes away your peace. And a chosen one in internal conflict cannot hear their own essence. Being strong also means knowing when to be silent to reflect, not to omit. It's essential to break the idea that feeling anger is wrong. Feeling anger is human. But the way you deal with it defines the outcomes. Ignoring it doesn't solve anything. Exploding doesn't heal. The path lies in balance, in embracing the feeling, naming it, and choosing a healthy way to express what is within. You can write, walk, breathe deeply, pray, talk to someone. There are ways to vent without hurting. What you can't do is keep harming yourself every time something throws you off balance. You don't have to live in this cycle. Your sensitivity is a strength, not a burden. It just needs direction. The chosen ones were not called to live reactively, impulsively, or carrying guilt. They were called to transform, illuminate, and build. But this mission requires emotional clarity. And clarity does not come amidst chaos. It is born in silence, in pauses, in caring for the soul. And taking care of the soul also means attending to the emotions you feel every day. It may be that you are feeling ashamed right now for losing control recently. That's okay. What you experienced does not define you. You are in process. What matters now is deciding to do things differently, choosing to care for what you feel with truth, maturity, and compassion. This is emotional wisdom. This is spirituality in practice. Remember, being strong is not reacting to everything. Being strong is not letting what hurt you define how you will live from now on. It's learning to breathe before responding. It's feeling and choosing. It's transforming pain into awareness. And a conscious, balanced, and at peace chosen one becomes an even more powerful light in the world. Spiritual healing begins with emotional awareness. You seek to connect with the divine, want to hear the voice of God, feel His presence, and understand His ways. This is beautiful. But there is something that no one told you. You can only hear the heavens clearly when you make silence within yourself. And this silence begins with emotional healing. Without it, everything feels muffled. Many chosen ones believe they just need to pray more, fast more, give more. All of this is powerful, but it does not replace emotional truth. The wounded soul screams inside, and as long as this pain is not heard, no spiritual practice will fill the void. God wants your whole heart, not just your good intentions. And this requires the courage to look inside. Taking care of your mind is as sacred as taking care of your spirit. Emotions are part of divine creation. Feeling sadness, anger, anguish, or fear does not make you less spiritual. It makes you human. And God chose human beings, with all their imperfections, for great missions. But He also expects you to take care of what you feel, without ignoring or repressing it. Emotional awareness begins when you decide to listen to yourself. When, instead of pushing feelings under the rug, you embrace them with love. Not to feed the pain, but to understand what it wants to say. Every emotion brings a message. And when you understand that message, you begin to free yourself from the inside out. There is no magic cure that comes from outside. True healing is an internal process. It involves recognizing traumas, forgiving memories, and releasing grievances. It's not easy, but it's liberating. And when the soul finds this safe space to exist without judgment, spiritual connection becomes lighter, deeper, and more genuine. You feel God within you. Seeking emotional support is not weakness. It is wisdom. Sometimes talking to a therapist can be as important as a sincere prayer. Sometimes writing down what you feel is more effective than trying to pretend everything is fine. God also uses people, paths, and tools to heal. You don't have to face everything alone. You can be spiritual and go to therapy. You can love God and admit that you have bad days. You can be chosen and still be in process. This does not diminish your worth. It makes you real. There is no full divine presence where there is emotional repression. God dwells in truth, in sincere surrender, in the heart that lays bare before Him. So, if today your mind is tired, your body is screaming, and your faith seems distant, perhaps it is not a lack of prayer. Perhaps it is just the soul asking to be heard before anything else. You have permission to feel, to stop, to rebuild yourself calmly. And the more whole you are inside, the stronger your light will be outside. Heaven recognizes your efforts, but also desires to see your soul at peace. Spiritual healing begins with the courage to say, I need to take care of myself. And that is sacred. Chosen one, take care of who carries the light. Have you noticed how much strength exists within you? How much you have faced in silence? How many times you have sustained someone else's world while your own seemed to crumble? This is not an exaggeration. It is the reality for many chosen ones. And perhaps, without realizing it, you are forgetting the most important person in this journey, yourself. Carrying light is not a light task. Those who have spiritual brightness attract many good things, but they also attract challenges, pressures, and invisible demands. The sensitivity that connects you to your purpose also makes you more vulnerable. You perceive everything, feel everything, and absorb pains that are not even yours. And this, over time, weighs heavily. That's why so many chosen ones become ill in silence. They are always trying to be strong for others, but rarely stop to look at themselves. The body begins to give signals, the mind loses balance, and the soul drifts away from what truly matters. And when they realize it, they are already exhausted, empty, at their limit. It doesn't have to be this way. You have the right to rest, to feel, to heal. Your mission is beautiful, but it does not depend on your suffering. You do not need to destroy yourself to illuminate the path for others. On the contrary, the more whole you are, the stronger your light will be. The world does not need martyrs. It needs conscious people. Taking care of your mind is as important as praying. But it is already past time to change this way of living. It is already past time to understand that a mission without self-care becomes a burden, and that even angels need to rest their wings. So, breathe. Embrace yourself. Allow yourself. Return to taking care of who carries the light. See yourself again as God sees you. Someone chosen, yes, but also human. And this is not a contradiction. It is balance. It is wisdom. And it is at this point of balance that true spiritual strength resides, transforming everything around. If this message touched your heart, I invite you to be part of this movement of healing and truth. Comment below. Which of these 5 signs do you recognize most in your life today? Your sharing can heal you and inspire someone who also needs to listen to themselves. Let's go together, because the chosen ones also deserve care.